As we get closer to October, when Game of Thrones Season 8 is officially supposed to begin filming, the news starts piling up. Let's discuss the directors, the budget, and 7 new casting roles for Game of Thrones Season 8. Before we get started, this video would not be possible if it wasn't for my wonderful supporters over on patreon.com, and if you watching would like to give your support to Sir Hunt's Reviews, all you have to do is click the link right up here or check the link down below in the description. I recently just added a new reward tier that gives you the chance to collaborate with me on a live stream or on an up-and-coming video. The budget news was brought to my attention by Variety magazine. They mentioned that each episode of Season 8, which there's going to be 6 in total, is going to range around $15 million per episode will be the budget. Now, if you remember, last season, it was roughly 10 to 12 million per episode. So if we're having 1 episode left and there's 6 episodes total, that's $90 million for a little over 6 hours of television. One can only begin to imagine what they're going to be doing with all this excess money. But if my predictions were right and we have this crazy, insane battle that may last over 2 and 3 episodes, well, a good chunk of the budget will, of course, be spent on that. I think we are going to just be shown CG in almost every episode. And we do know that CG can get extremely expensive, and Game of Thrones has been known to use the same editing software as the people who created Lord of the Rings. So if you're using that kind of heavy visual effects and you need a team to do that, so that's most likely where a lot of that budget will be going. I also imagine that the budget will be going into filming in more exotic locations. So like maybe we've seen these places before in Westeros while we didn't get a good look at them, or maybe it's places we haven't seen at all. But I can also imagine that a good chunk of that budget will be going to filming in these new locations. This is going to be the final season of Game of Thrones, so they are definitely going to be doing it up. I also imagine that some of the budget will be going to the actors' salaries as well. We do know that a lot of the secondary cast got promoted to main tier cast last season, so I think that everyone will be getting a handsome pay raise. I can imagine that for 6 episodes of filming, with all of this exhaustive schedule they're going to be going through, like they're going to be busy nonstop for like the next 9 to 10 months with actually filming these scenes, I can imagine these actors will be getting a bit of a pay raise as well, which would explain where the extra budget comes in. You know, a lot of us kind of want to see it. We know what's going to happen. I kind of dread the situation because I don't know who's going to fare, but I think we all know what I'm talking about here, and that's the dragons fighting each other. You know, we have Drogon and Rhaegal, who are still alive, and then we have Viserion, who's undead. Viserion also got an over 9,000 power level increase because he's mounted by the Night King. So we all kind of knew that the dragons were going to be fighting each other. The wonderful woman, the sound designer for Game of Thrones, Paula Fairfield, she was actually doing an interview with Vanity Fair in which she mentioned, she's told us before at Con of Thrones that each episode of Season 8 will likely be feature length, which is around 1 hour and 20 minutes. But she also mentioned that there could be a scene in which the dragons fight their undead brother. You know, that adds back into the CG department, with Paula Fairfield sort of confirming this. You know, the undead dragon scene fighting a living dragon, that will likely take up a huge chunk of the budget as well. We also have some directing news to discuss. According to EW, David Nutter and Miguel Sapochnik will be returning to split 5 episodes of Game of Thrones Season 8. Now, David Nutter is best known for The Red Wedding and The Reigns of Castamere, as well as The Dance of Dragons, Mother's Mercy, and Hardhome. Every single one of those episodes has been amazing, and I had nothing to complain about them. The pacing was great, it was very well written, and this guy knows what the hell he's doing when he is running a Game of Thrones episode. And then you also have Miguel Sapochnik. He's probably my favorite out of all these directors that they bring in. Miguel Sapochnik, he's also known for being a heavy hitter behind the scenes of Game of Thrones. You know, he directed episodes like Battle of the Bastards, which was one of my all-time favorite episodes, and also The Winds of Winter. So with these guys splitting these episodes up, now reportedly Miguel is supposed to direct 3 episodes and David Nutter is supposed to direct 2. That's what EW is telling us as of right now, but of course that could change. That leaves, you know, the season finale, which we'll discuss in a second. But Miguel Sapochnik and David Nutter, these two, we couldn't ask for better directors for the final season of Game of Thrones. With such epic episodes under their belts, we know that every single episode these two put their hands on is going to be amazing. So I think the complaints for Season 8 will be far less than the complaints for Season 7. That leaves us with the Game of Thrones Season 8 finale, or just the Game of Thrones in general, the finale. Who's going to be the director for it? Now, according to EW, the directors for Episode 6 of Season 8, the final episode of Game of Thrones, will in fact be directed by Dan and Dave, the showrunners. Now, a lot of people were like, whoa, man, you know, most of the issues we have with Game of Thrones, these guys are at the root cause of it. But let's be honest, none of us especially people who complain about it. None of us know what the hell it's like to run a show as amazing as Game of Thrones, and then on top of that, to do it for 10 years. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Dan and Dave, we wouldn't have Game of Thrones, period. So it really pisses me off when I see people, complaining about Dan and Dave and, all the flaws and stuff that they have done, or the characters they left out, or the shortcomings in the writing, or the loopholes in the plot, all these different things. But I, for one, am excited. These guys, if it wasn't for Dan and Dave, we wouldn't have Game of Thrones on TV, because they were the ones who were able to meet with Martin and convince him to make this into a television show. So if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have any of this. So the fact that they're going to be directing the final episode, it's perfect. It was their and George R. R. Martin's dream to begin with. So it only makes sense that we have it come full circle and these guys end up directing the final episode. Now, as far as experience of directing things go, Dan and Dave don't have the most experience as being a director, but they do have the most experience with Game of Thrones. They've been there since day one. So if you have them ending the series, I think that it's going to be coming full circle, and it makes the most sense to have the people who started this world on the television universe anyway. It makes the most sense to have them end it, because they've had this vision and this picture in their mind that they came up with George R. R. Martin that one fateful night out at dinner. They've had that, that end game in mind for the longest. So who better to bring that to our television screens than the creators themselves, Dan and Dave? Okay, so enough fanboying over these two, but ideally, I do think it would be awesome if they brought in George R. R. Martin. If he could kind of oversee every single episode for season 8, I think it would make a lot of book fans happy, and then, we can see the direction of where, because he had such a heavy influence on the first 4 seasons, I would like to see him come back and help out for season 8. Now, I don't know if it'll be like writing an episode, directing an episode, but just having him on the set and kind of like pointing people in the right direction would be the best news. Who am I kidding? I want him to finish Winds of Winter. You know what, George? Stay off the set and write the book, bro. Write the book. All joking aside, I am quite aware that Dan and Dave are more than up for the task of bringing us the greatest finale of a Game of Thrones season ever. Let me know what you all think down below in the comment section. Do you have a few doubts about these two being the directors for the final episode of Game of Thrones ever? I am actually having a giveaway. Now, I know this is abrupt in the middle of this video, but I just wanted to announce it. If you want to enter to win this Funko Mystery Pop figure for once we reach 30,000 subscribers here on YouTube, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to me here on YouTube, hop on Twitter and follow me, and then the tweet that I put out to promote this video, make sure you like it and retweet it, so that way I know exactly for sure who wants to be entered into this contest. Okay, so next up is the casting information, and this comes to me directly from none other than Watchers on the Wall. The article will be linked down below in the description, and you can go check it out for yourself. Okay, so according to Watchers on the Wall sources, they will be looking for a mercenary aged 35 to 50. He's described as an authoritative person. He's supposed to be fit, cool, and a charismatic military type. He'll be appearing in 2 episodes of season 8, and the role requires him to be able to ride a horse, and the actor will be rehearsing in October, filming the week commencing December 11th, and then once again in May and June of 2018. So with that, we know that they're going to be filming still all the way up until June of next year. Now, that's a little less than a year away. But my predictions are correct here. This guy comes in at the beginning, and then he shows back up towards the end of the season. Post-production could take another 10 months, so it may very well be 2019 until we get another season of Game of Thrones. But another casting they're looking for, and this is going to be a northern role. It's a northern farmer, aged 25 to 35. He's a straightforward, honest man of simple taste who works on the land. The role is currently scheduled to shoot the week commencing November 17th. As far as with the northern farming role, I don't have much speculation there. I think this is either going to be someone who shows up in Winterfell and explains to Jon that they're getting low on food and that they need to, find another way to get more food into Winterfell to prepare for the long night. Or this could be someone who's farming. Maybe, you can't really do much farming out there, but this could just be someone who's out, like a villager, outside of, let's say, the Last Hearth or somewhere north of Winterfell, one of the first places that the Night King is going to be attacking, and we see him trying to fight off the dead, and then he's turned, showing us how serious it's going to be. Now, when I hear mercenary, I immediately jump to the Golden Company and Daario Naharis. We know that last we heard, Cersei is sending Euron to go and pick up the Golden Company as extra troops to help rebuild the Lannister army. So now when mercenary pops in my mind, I'm like, are they really going to recast Daario? We haven't seen him for an entire season, and the last time, we had a break where we didn't see him for a while, he was recasted. So I don't think this character is going to be a recast. I believe the role of the mercenary will likely be the leader of the Golden Company. Like, he'll have a few lines early on in the season when we see Euron arriving in Essos and picking them up, and then he'll have another few lines after the battle. Next up on the casting list is another Northern role, and this is supposed to be a sassy and attractive girl aged 18 to 25. She's supposed to be playing a sexy and confident Northern girl in a memorable one-scene part in one episode, playing opposite of the leading cast. Her role is currently set to start shooting in the week commencing November 6th. So if she's supposed to be shooting against the main cast member, I immediately jump to, well, we know that Northern girls and Northern women are going to be trained to fight with a sword. She's likely going to have a scene with Brienne and Arya, and they're probably going to share some funny quips. Next up, we have a Northern Sentry, and if you'll notice, a lot of these casting roles are for Northern-based characters because that's likely where the majority of Season 8 will be taking place. But the character is described as being a Northern Sentry, aged 18 to 25, and the show's looking for a characterful young actor with great timing to play a small part opposite of the leading cast. The role is currently scheduled to start shooting the first week of December. So, you know, we do know that all of these characters that are having like one-time memorable scenes, they're likely going to show up and then die. That's like a trend with Game of Thrones, and they're just going to be showing us how serious it is in this final season. We also were given word on the casting of a sailor aged 35 to 50. He's a rough and ready seafaring type with a weathered face and a strong presence, and he is supposed to begin filming December 11th. So it doesn't say that he's filming along a main side cast, so this could likely be someone who may be a captain on one of Euron's fleet ships, and they can interact with a few of the Golden Company members. I do think that if he was going to be acting in a scene with Euron is definitely a main cast member, so it would have been listed in this description. But since it was obvious that it's a sailor we automatically associate with him with the Ironborn, they could have left out the fact that he will be filming with Euron just to keep spoilers away. Okay, so the last two roles that we have being cast as of right now are guard number 1 and guard number 2. Guard number 1 is in his 20s, physically fit, and able to handle himself in any kind of fight. He's scheduled to shoot the first week in December, and his looks aren't exactly specified like color-wise or anything. It doesn't say whether he's Northern or Southern. There's no mixing of an accent, so this character could pretty much, you know, like show up anywhere along any other characters like subplot or storyline for Season 8. The guard number 2 is in his 30s. They're looking for an actor that's tall, athletic, and with a military feel. This character is a professional, clear-thinking guard who is dependable. The part has 2 days of shooting on November 1st and November 2nd in Spain, and although it's a small role with a one-line part, he does interact with the lead cast. Now, I had mentioned that guard number 1 could be popping up anywhere. I most likely think this is going to be a Northern guard. You know, Jon Snow is going to be going off into battle, and I don't think he's going to be taking every single loved one with him. So this may be, you know, someone who's proven to keep himself very capable. Like, maybe this could be some of the troops that Jaime could potentially bring north with him. Or maybe this could be someone like a Dothraki that we haven't seen yet in Daenerys' army. It doesn't mention the accent, and I think that pretty much leaves it open where it could be, you know, like this could be a new Golden Company member that Cersei has, like, by her side. The fact that they left that casting role so open for interpretation, he could literally end up anywhere, and this is probably the most fun to speculate on. Honestly, if I was given the chance, I would apply for this role, but let me know what you guys think down below. Where do you think this guard, who is able to handle himself in any fight, is going to be showing up at? In the north or in the south? For guard number 2, since it's such a short role, obviously my mind jumps to speculating that this dude is going to show up and then be killed off. But I think that's most likely going to be the case. But I do think that, you know, he could show up and offer us a little bit of exposition, like explaining a certain situation between other characters. Like maybe he walks up and he has a line with Euron and he explains to them, you know, like the traditions of the Golden Company. Or this could just be someone who warns Jon Snow and Daenerys about how far the Night King's army is from hitting the battlefield. I would like to give a super special thank you to all of my wonderful supporters over on Patreon.com. Without you, all these videos would not be possible. And if anyone watching would like to become a sponsor and show your support to Sir Hunt's Reviews, all you have to do is click the link right up here or check the link down below in the description. I want to thank you all again so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video, the like goal will be 150. Go ahead and subscribe, and then make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop Game of Thrones content throughout this off season. If you would like to be entered into my contest to win this lovely mystery fun co-pop figure for once we reach 30,000 subscribers here on YouTube, all you have to do to enter that contest is like this video, leave a comment down below, and then hop on Twitter and follow me. Also, make sure you're subscribed. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.